Okay, let's unpack this. Welcome to the deep dive.
Glad to be here.
We are diving deep into your stack of sources today.
Oh,
Looks like a really interesting collection you pulled. Recent news articles from CoinMarketCap's Market Musing G. Right.
that's right. A snapshot from their recent posts.
So our mission, pretty straightforward. We're going to walk through these together, pull out the important bits, any surprising facts,
Mm,
and just see what kind of picture they paint about the crypto world right now. But importantly, based only on what's in these specific articles.
exactly. Stick to the source material provided.
And it looks like this stack covers quite a range. We've got regulatory calls, some big money moves,
Yeah, investments, market rankings.
and even looking ahead at a potential future challenge. Quite the mix you've got here.
It is. And what's interesting, I think, is when you put them together, you start seeing these different currents.
Yeah.
The push for clearer rules,
Right.
then significant money flowing in, and also this kind of long-term thinking about potential disruptions.
Okay, let's jump right into that first piece then, the one focused on regulation. SEC crypto regulation, a crucial call for transparent rulemaking. What's the core message you took from that?
Well, the article makes a very specific point. It's not just calling for regulation in general,
Okay,
but specifically for transparent rulemaking by the SEC when it comes to crypto.
transparency. So the central idea is this need for, like, clarity, well-defined guidelines.
Precisely. That's what the article argues is urgently needed in the sector.
Why the emphasis on transparency, though? What does the source imply is missing or needed right now?
It suggests the current situation lacks certainty, that the rules aren't maybe clear enough or defined well enough.
And that uncertainty, it holds things back.
That's the implication, yeah. It can stifle innovation, make it hard for legitimate projects to operate, to plan ahead effectively. The argument presented is that predictability through transparent rules is pretty essential for the space to mature.
Got it. So that sets the stage on regulation, this demand for transparency. But then other articles you've got here show something else happening at the same time. Big money flowing in.
Right, despite that uncertainty maybe.
Yeah. Take the piece mentioning Adam Back's investment. What did that highlight?
So that one reported Adam Back putting $2.1 million specifically into H100 Group's Bitcoin treasury strategy.
Okay, $2.1 million. And did the article mention any reaction?
It did. It noted that H100 Group's share price reportedly jumped 37% after that announcement.
Wow, 37%.
Yeah.
Linked to a Bitcoin treasury strategy.
Yeah.
That's quite a signal. Can you clarify, just based on the article, what exactly is a Bitcoin treasury strategy?
Well, the way the article presents it, it's basically a company deciding to hold Bitcoin as part of its corporate reserves, on its balance sheet.
Managing some of its cash by converting it to Bitcoin.
Essentially, yes, that seems to be the context.
And you spotted another similar move mentioned in these sources?
Yes, another piece talked about DigiAsia Corp. They announced plans for a pretty substantial $100 million Bitcoin and Ethereum treasury strategy.
$100 million, okay.
And the article states their goal is to significantly increase their crypto holdings.
Right. So let's put these two together. Adam Back investing in H100's strategy, DigiAsia planning this massive $100 in treasury. What does this suggest, based purely on these articles, about corporate or institutional interest?
Well, these specific examples, especially the amounts involved, they strongly suggest that certain corporate players are getting more comfortable, maybe even eager, to put real capital into Bitcoin and Ethereum as part of their official corporate plans.
And that H100 stock reaction adds another layer.
Exactly. As reported, it suggests the market, or at least investors in that company, viewed the move very positively at the time.
Okay, and adding to this theme of adoption signals, the sources also mentioned BlackRock's ETF, didn't they?
They did, yeah. This brings in the traditional finance angle. The articles point out that BlackRock's spot Bitcoin ETF ticker IBIT climbed really fast.
How fast?
It achieved a top 25 ETF ranking specifically based on how quickly it accumulated assets.
Wow. Top 25 based on speed of accumulation. That seems significant.
It is.
What does that rapid rise, that high ranking for a major player like BlackRock suggest about investor interest or maybe just accessibility? Again, just based on these articles.
Well, the speed and the ranking strongly imply there's significant investor appetite out there.
Right.
And it suggests that this kind of vehicle, the spot ETF, is effectively giving broader access to Bitcoin exposure for many investors.
Yeah.
It signals a clear trend, according to this reporting, of mainstream financial integration, easier adoption through familiar products.
Makes sense. Okay, so we've got the regulatory picture, some big money moves, strong ETS performance. Let's pivot slightly. What other interesting market data points did these articles highlight? You mentioned fee rankings.
Yeah, there was a notable shift reported there. PancakeSwap apparently rose to second place in weekly crypto fee generation.
Second place. Ahead of who?
Ahead of Circle, according to the source. It also noted that Tether still held the top spot.
Interesting. PancakeSwap surpassing Circle in fees.
Hmm.
What do these kinds of fee rankings generally tell us about market activity?
Well, fees are often a proxy for activity for demand within certain protocols or ecosystems.
Okay.
So Tether being number one isn't maybe surprising given its dominance in stablecoin transactions, but PancakeSwap moving up past Circle, that suggests pretty strong activity, high volume, on the Binance Smart Chain where PancakeSwap operates.
Right.
It might indicate that during that specific reported period, decentralized exchange activity there was generating more fees than whatever Circle's main fee-generating activities were.
Gives you a glimpse into where the action is or was at that moment. And the sources also mentioned a new altcoin listing.
Yes, an announcement from Binance. They listed an altcoin called Resolve, ticker ResolveV.
And where did they list it?
On both Binance Alpha, their platform for perhaps newer or more speculative assets, and also on their futures markets.
What's the significance usually when a major exchange like Binance lists a new altcoin like this, both for the coin and maybe the broader market?
Well, for the coin itself, like Resolve here, getting listed on Binance is huge. It means massive exposure, potential for much greater liquidity, and a certain level of perceived legitimacy.
Okay.
For the broader market, traders often watch these listings closely. They can sometimes be seen as indicators of specific trends or types of projects that major exchanges think will attract trading interest. Little signals about microtrends in the altcoin world, maybe.
Gotcha. So we've covered the regulatory push, investment and adoption signals, some current market metrics. Now, looking ahead, one article brought up something framed as a potential future threat: quantum computing.
Yes, that piece highlighted a significant long-term concern. It reported that certain financial analysts, as of June 3rd, 2025, were expressing serious concern.
Concern about what specifically?
That the crypto sector is, in their view, far from ready for the potential impact of quantum computing.
And did it name any specific analysts?
It did cite Rick Maida as a lead analyst voicing this particular concern.
Okay. And when the source talks about quantum computing being a threat to the crypto sector, what's the implied danger? Is it about security?
Exactly. While the article didn't seem to dive into the deep technical details, framing it as a threat strongly implies the worry is about future quantum computers potentially breaking the cryptography.
The stuff that secures blockchains and wallets.
Precisely. The algorithms currently used. So
Okay.
it's presented as a serious, though maybe not immediate, technological hurdle that the sector, according to these analysts, hasn't really prepared for yet.
Okay, wow. We've covered a lot from your stack. We have this call for transparent SEC rules. And clear signals of significant capital inflow. Atom back the DigiAsia, that rapid BlackRock ETF growth.
Right, the adoption signal.
Then the market metrics like fee rankings and new listings giving snapshots of current activity.
Yeah, PancakeSwap, the Resolve listing.
And finally, this analyst concern looking way down the road at the quantum computing threat. When you stitch all these pieces together, just from this collection of articles, what's the overall picture that emerges for you?
It paints a picture of a crypto world that's, well, juggling a lot at once. There's this immediate need, voiced clearly in one piece, for clear, transparent rules, sort of foundational stuff.
Right, at the ground.
Yet at the same time, other articles show that substantial investment and mainstream adoption are happening now, seemingly regardless of that regulatory uncertainty.
The train's already moving fast.
Exactly. And the current market data, like the fees, gives us these little glimpses into where that activity is concentrated. And then layered over all of that present-day action, you have this acknowledgement from analysts cited in another source that fundamental future technological shifts, like quantum computing, pose a serious challenge that hasn't really been addressed.
So it's a landscape in flux.
Very much so, demanding clarity now, growing incredibly fast, but also needing to keep an eye on potentially systemic changes down the line. That's the feeling I get from this specific set of articles.
It really is fascinating how these few pieces from your stack show that mix, the urgent present, the strong growth signals, and these potential future hurdles all coexisting.
Definitely.
So, recapping our deep dive into your sources,
Uh-huh.
we saw the call for transparent SEC regulation, the concrete examples of investment like Atom Back and DigiAsia, BlackRock's rapid ETF success, insights from fee rankings, and that Binance listing, and the analysts' concerns about quantum computing as of early June 2025.
It really does highlight all the different forces at play just based on these articles you provided. So maybe here's a final thought for you, the listener, to chew on. Drawing just from this stack, how does this specific combination, this urgent demand for clear rules now, this simultaneous influx of serious money and adoption shown by these examples, and this explicit mention in the conversation of a huge future technological challenge like quantum computing, how does that complex mix shape your view on what's most critical to watch as the crypto world keeps evolving? What matters next?
A lot to think about indeed. Thanks for bringing this stack of sources and letting us walk through them together in this deep dive.
My pleasure. It was interesting to connect the dots just based on these pieces.